What's going on, YouTube? My name's Diggy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another Madden NFL style rebuild for you guys. Last time I did an Arizona Cardinals rebuild. They're my favorite team. Today I'm going to be doing a Miami Dolphins rebuild. Now, the reason why I'm doing a Miami Dolphins rebuild is, number one, because they're a pretty bad team and they could obviously use a lot of help. And the second reason is because I have a very good friend of mine who is a massive Miami Dolphins fan, and he requested me do a rebuild of his team. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do today. Looking through free agency here, I'm going to bring back Matt Hawk here, just because he's a pretty good punter for them, and he doesn't want to sign. Cool. I don't blame him, quite honestly, because this team might not be good for a couple of years in real life. Hopefully I'm going to turn that around pretty quickly in this rebuild. But yeah, the good thing about them is that they don't have a lot of commitment in terms of money. As you can see, a lot of their overalls are really low for the guys that they have to re-sign. So it's not a big deal if we miss out on some guys. Devontae Parker had a spectacular season down the stretch. I think he was the number 2 or 3 receiver in football after Fitzmagic came in and they kind of dropped Rosen as the starting quarterback. We're going to quickly just go into here to free agency. I'm going to show you guys the team before free agency just because I think it gives a better idea of, how many holes they need to take care of here. So obviously starting off with the offensive line, Julian Davenport, third-year player at Bucknell, not really a whole lot to talk about. Just across the whole line, there's not a lot of super positive things to talk about. I mean, Michael Dieter's here as well. He was a pretty good guy coming out of Wisconsin in last year's draft. Daniel Kilgore's here. Shaq Calhoun, 24-year-old rookie this past season. And Jesse Davis. Jesse Davis I am familiar with, but he's getting up there in age, and he's just never really been that guy, I guess, at tackle for them. Mike Gesicki is really solid. If you guys didn't look at his combine at all, his jumping ability is ridiculous. He's an athletic freak. I watched him actually in person at Penn State. I went down for the Penn State USC Rose Bowl game one year, and he was playing in that along with Saquon. Moving to the quarterback position, Josh Rosen, obviously being a Cardinals fan, I'm quite familiar with him. He's just been one of the most unlucky quarterbacks to be drafted maybe ever into just such a bad situation in Arizona last year, and then obviously getting traded at the deadline, or not at the deadline, at the draft, to Miami. And do I think he deserves star development? No, I don't. Samaje Perine is here as the leading running back, which is just awful. Definitely a position of need for us. Patrick Laird came in. Myles Gaskin's also here. They just kept rolling through running backs. It was kind of a running back by committee of 6 guys. So definitely a position we need to take care of. In terms of receiver, Devontae Parker, as I said, had an unbelievable season this year. Albert Wilson is a guy I'm going to try and potentially move at some point. He's got a pretty big contract, but not a huge penalty if I try and move him. So I think that's going to be the goal here. Alan Hearns, ex-Jacksonville wide receiver. I think he had a knee injury and has never really recovered from it. Isaiah Ford's a young guy who we signed back on a really cheap 3-year deal just because I think if I try and move Albert Wilson and don't get a replacement for him, he'll potentially have to step up. There's also a lot of guys that are injured for this team. Preston Williams is one of those guys that is currently injured but has showed a ton of potential. He's a pretty tall and physical receiver at 6'4", 210. Made some pretty great plays during the season, but unfortunately got hurt, and there's not really much you can do about that. Same with Jeremy Grant. This guy's more of a speedster Tyreek Hill type. I wouldn't even put him anywhere near Tyreek's talent, but he's up there. Defensively, it's, again, just one of those things where they're these young plug-in players who just I don't think they really deserve a position on this team, but just because of the situation where it was as bad as it was in Miami, they kind of needed to step up. Steven Parker, not really anything to talk about. Andrew Van Ginkel is someone who's somewhat interesting to me, I guess. He's 25, so he came into the league old, out of Wisconsin. But, I just think there's an upgrade there, whether that's through free agency or drafting. He's just not someone that I see progressing too much. Jerome Baker and Raekwon McMillan are both beasts. I think they're both out of Ohio State. Jerome Baker is definitely out of Ohio State. I'm pretty sure Raekwon McMillan is as well. Yeah, so both Ohio State middle linebackers. I know Raekwon McMillan has star development, but Jerome Baker is going to be our starting sub linebacker as well as our first option at linebacker, just because I've seen him develop really well in this game, and he's a bit of a monster actually. So I'm okay with doing that. I really would like to see him get a development increase. I don't know when that's supposed to kick in. I think it should have already kicked in if he was going to get it for this upcoming season, but it is what it is. We're still going to rock with him. Taco Charlton here, the ex-Cowboy. Not really much to say on that. The secondary is really depleted, and that's mainly thanks to injury, but other than that, there still wasn't a whole lot of talent here. Xavier Howard is kind of that guy for them in terms of the secondary, but he's 27 already. As I said in my last video, you guys haven't checked that out, please go check it out. It's a Arizona Cardinals rebuild. The age of regression in Madden hits at like 27-ish, 28, especially for those skill guys like corners, receivers, running backs, all that. So, holding those guys into their 30s and stuff is a dangerous game to play, but he's got superstar development. The regression won't hit him as badly. It will be interesting to see when his contract's up and the decision we'll have to make there. Very young defensive line here. Devon Godshaw is in the middle. Liked him out of LSU. Obviously, I don't know if he's, again, been put into the best scenario with Miami. I think he needs a little help on the back end with the linebackers and stuff, because I think teams just know that they can run the ball all day and then, run play action once they've established the run. So not put in the best scenario there. Christian Wilkins had a hidden development going into the season, got it dropped. And that's just because of production, man. He wasn't very productive this year in his rookie season. So we're going to go back to free agency here after we kind of recap the team, saw some of the holes. Like I said, $81 million. Now, that's a lot of money. And I mentioned it in my other rebuild as Kendall Fuller's going to get a contract here. But I really don't love spending all my money in like the early seasons when we have a lot of it to blow. Just because it puts you in such a bind down the road after you give out all these big contracts. And, the salary cap catches up to you. And it really puts you in a bind to try and acquire new talent or, move around the draft board or trade for players and stuff. Dak Prescott's here. Do I just go for Dak Prescott Miami rebuild? I think I do. Because there's one thing I kind of don't want to do, and that's rely on random generated quarterbacks. Now, randomly generated quarterbacks do usually perform better in the sim, and that's something that I will have to keep in mind. I'm going to offer on Dak. And I just think it's the move. So if I can bring in those guys, that'd be unbelievable. Dak Prescott comes in. So that is huge. Kendall Fuller also accepts, which is another big addition. Jack Conklin is a guy who I definitely would have liked to have brought in, but it is what it is. We can always invest in a tackle in the draft. So I'm just going to go tinker around with my settings for a bit. I'm going to scout some college guys, and then I'm going to see you guys at the draft. All right, guys, so we're back here. I'm just finishing up some scouting, but as I said, I wanted to trade Albert Wilson for sure because he had a pretty large cap hit and a relatively small penalty for trading him. So I'm giving up Albert Wilson, a second rounder next year. Now we have 2 second-round picks next year, so I'm comfortable parting ways with one. A fifth-round draft pick this year for number 12 in the draft. I'm probably going to take Jamison Reed here, just because he's, he's a good offensive lineman, and it's a position we desperately need. He's an 80 overall. He's number 1 in the class, and he's got normal development. He's 22. He's 6'7", 337. He's an animal. Power archetype, so he can move inside to guard. That's a great pick. He is a beast. So we're going to move to our pick 12 here. There goes another tackle, 76 overall. So we're going to see how many are left on the board here. Joseph McDougall is the last one of the big 4, so I'm going to take him here. And Joseph McDougall is number 2 in the class, 78 overall left tackle. So far, so good with this draft. Unlike my Arizona Cardinals rebuild, if you saw that in the first year, there was a glitch. And for whatever reason, the CPU took a center who was a 71 overall with normal development with the 4th overall pick. So far, so much better. McDougall's a beast. Now I'm probably going to go with the free safety. And, okay, Maurice Cameron is a 72 overall, big reach. He's 18th in true talent. We got him at 17, so my bad. He's out of Michigan State. He's got hidden development. He's going to be a day 1 starter for sure. I'm going to take Kari Cohen just because he's far more of a position of need. And he's number 4 in the class, but normal development. 76 overall. That's not a bad pick. The normal development kind of hurts, but probably going to end up throwing him in the slot and seeing what he can do. Maybe get Offensive Rookie of the Year and really boost his development. I'm going to go with Cole Stevens just because we play in a 3-4. And if he's a speed rusher, odds are he can probably play an outside backer role. And he's a 72, 15th in the class, normal development. His finesse moves are fantastic and his speed is great. His power moves are really low, which means that he'll probably be better in an off-ball scenario. And that's probably where I'm going to put him. I'm probably going to put him at left or right outside linebacker, taking over for like an Andrew Van Ginkel or something like that, or a Taco Charlton. But we're going to sim to probably the last pick I'll end up taking. Darian Griffin is going to be the pick here. He looks like a really solid power rushing D tackle, and we really need that because that's the only hole on our defensive line is that right end spot, and he's a power rusher, so which he's going to be able to flip to that pretty easily. Number 17 in the class. He looks really good. Robbie Sawyer is going to be the last pick. He's just, offensive line help. I'm going to go over the team now just because I want to give you a little bit of an update. It's probably going to look a lot different once I'm done tinkering with everything. But yeah, so we bring in Dak Prescott. Now moving to the offensive line, obviously the big addition of Joseph McDougall as our franchise left tackle is massive. He's a beast. Sawyer is the guy that we just took in the 3rd round. He's probably going to kick inside to right guard, but I won't show you guys all that stuff. I'm going to get this team looking all nice and perfect for you guys once I'm done kind of recapping it. But Cohen is here. He's a 76. He's probably going to be our slot receiver, even though he profiles more as a deep threat, just because when you put him in the slot, they just go off. So, yeah, that's probably where he's going to end up. Preston Williams is a guy who I definitely want to get back at some point. We might be able to trade one of these receivers, something I might look to do, maybe Allen Hurns, or just straight up release him just because we have a decent amount of depth and those guys are a lot younger than he is. Now moving to the defense, we brought in this free safety here, Maurice Cameron. He's going to start. And the reason for that is because Bobby McCain is 27. He's only normal development. And he's expendable at this point. Cameron's going to overtake him in overall pretty quickly. And that's what's going to happen. Maybe we look to package him with one of those receivers, maybe Hurns, try and pick up someone who can make a difference. Or, we can just get, more draft picks and stuff like that. So I'm going to tinker with this team for a little bit. And I'm going to see you guys when it's all set and ready to go for the new season. All right, so checking back in here, we just made a move just before the season started. We're sending Bobby McCain, who became expendable because of our rookie that came in, And we're picking up Will Hernandez. I liked him coming out of, I believe, UTEP. But anyways, it's really pretty easy to trade for linemen in Madden. So I'm sending an old Bobby McCain, a 4th-round pick the Giants' way, for a starting left guard. All right, so we are back here at the start of the season. The team is set. All the positions are good to go. 77 offense, 76 defense. So already pretty significant jump in overall, which is good to see. So we're going to sim here just before the midseason mark. I'm really hoping that, we can get maybe to like 3-3 would be great. Hopefully Dak Prescott can carry this offense, and we can have a good showing in the first bit of the season. I'm going to stop it here. I just like doing this to check out the contracts and see if we can maybe get a trade going. And we're 6-1. Okay, so already off to a really hot start here. We're going to look at free agency, obviously, into re-signing guys. Raekwon McMillan's going to get a 5-year contract from us for maybe a 4-year contract. I'm comfortable submitting that. And he resigns. Okay, great. So Devon Godshaw is interesting just because he only has normal development, but he's still 25. So I'm comfortable giving him a 2-year deal right there. And he wants a better salary. Okay, Taco Charlton I'm not going to bring back, even though he's 25. Actually, you know what? Maybe I will. No, I won't. We already have that other hidden development guy. If he turns out to be something unbelievable, then that would be fantastic. Charles Harris can go. Cordea Tankersley can go. All these other guys I'm good to let go. Raheem Mostert and Peyton Barber were just, kind of Band-Aids on a bullet wound. So those guys can walk as well. We're going to spend some coach XP really quick because we've got about 3,000 to work with. So just extra XP. And we're going to check on some development traits because we're probably going to know at this point for some of these guys. So McDougal has star, so that's fine. I wasn't really expecting much more than that, to be honest. Offensive lineman, it's pretty hard to come by a superstar or, an X Factor lineman. But I'm totally okay with star development. Onto the defense, Cameron has star. It's a little disappointing. Harris, we still don't know. He's only played, half the snaps required, so that's fine. Not a lot of, developments coming through here. So, hopefully we can have some impressive seasons. I don't know why we're back to this kind of format of slot. I thought I put my guy in there, Cohen. So, I'm probably going to sim to the end of the season, and I'll see you guys there. So at the end of season 1, we went 9-7, but we're in the wild card. We were 6-1 at the midseason mark, so a bit of a fall off, but that's all right. I wasn't really even expecting this team to be in the playoffs, so all in all, pretty positive. We're gonna sim past this week. I don't like jumping in super early on in the rebuilds, just because it kind of gets pretty cheesy when you start hopping in and start winning every game, and then you win Super Bowls in year 1. So I kind of like leaving it up to the sim, but we win 21-17 against the Jags. We're going against the very overpowered Browns in this game. Hopefully we get past them, and we do. 31-24. Got past the Browns. I guess Baker Mayfield's still having some turnover issues, which is all right with me. So we're going against the 10-6 Chiefs in the divisional. In the conference championship. This is going to be tough. If we can make it to the Super Bowl in year 1, that would be pretty incredible. And we do. We win 14-11, and we're in the Super Bowl against the Packers in year 1 as a 9-7 team. Okay. We're going to go to the stats and yearly awards here just real quick, just to see, we tied with the Patriots in the division, so I guess it just worked out. Dak Prescott was pretty good, a lot of picks, not too accurate, but 3,500 yards roughly, 32 touchdowns. I'll take it. I mean, it wasn't spectacular, but it was pretty good. Raheem Mostert had almost 900 yards and 6 touchdowns. Peyton Barber added 7 touchdowns. Dak Prescott ran for almost 403. Balaj, power back, added 4 on the ground. Devontae Parker had 880 and 9. Our rookie receiver had almost 900 yards and 12 touchdowns. That's fantastic to see. Gesicki had a lot of yards, not a lot of touchdowns. We're going to go to defense here real quick. Jerome Baker had a pretty good season, 102 tackles, 3 TFLs, no sacks, 1 pick. I see someone with 5 picks down there. This was the same problem I was having in my Cardinals rebuild, just not getting a lot of pressure, and that could just be because we don't have a fantastic pass rush. But only 5 sacks for Christian Wilkins, led the team. But interceptions, man. Kendall Fuller had 5. Rashad Jones had 3. Cameron, our free safety, had 2. We had a lot of turnovers, so that probably led to a pretty good defensive rating. Jerome Baker had a safety. Any defensive touchdowns? No. Jason Sanders was pretty good. All right, so I guess we're going to go to yearly awards here. I don't expect to see too many Dolphins on here, as Baker Mayfield is your MVP, the guy that we took down not too long ago. No Dolphins. On to the AFC. No Dolphins. Defensive Player of the Year. No Dolphins. A lot of Patriots. A lot of Colts. Offensive Rookie of the Year is not Cohen. It goes to Cam Robinson of the 4-11-1 Colts. And Defensive Rookie, there's Darian Griffin. Okay, that's a huge, huge... And we had the top 3 defensive rookies. Darian Griffin, Maurice Cameron. Maurice Cameron I know is my free safety. I'm pretty sure Darian Griffin is my left end. And Cole Stevens. Or maybe Darian Griffin's my outside linebacker. Either way, that might be a development trait for Darian Griffin. I'm not too sure, but either way, that's a pretty big boost. Dak Prescott at 9 for best QB. The rest of these might be pretty irrelevant just because I don't think we're going to have any Dolphins on them. And we don't. So we're in the Super Bowl, though. So I'm just going to spend this Coach XP really quick. Like to get that out of the way before I forget, and I always do. I'm going to send it to our offensive and defensive line. So we are going to play the moments. So they're playing zone. I kind of want to cross my body there, and it's going to get there. Kevin King on the interception. We're going to lose the Super Bowl. So we're going to walk away with some more experience. That's okay with me. We're going to go right into the offseason here and start looking at re-signing players. Devon Godshaw, he's a 76. Probably can afford to bring him back on a 2-year deal just so that he's not an immediate worry in terms of needing players to fill that gap left by him. The rest of these guys, they're all relatively young. I mean, with the exception of Daniel Kilgore, so we'll have to look for center and offensive line, but that's not anything new. The rest of them were kind of young, but they're all just low overalls, and I'd rather just go into free agency and see if I can acquire guys that'll really help out this team as opposed to just maintaining some depth. This team looks good for free agency, so that's where I'm going to go. We got $54.5 million to spend. So definitely running back is something that I'm looking here. I signed Kareem Hunt in my Arizona Cardinals rebuild, so maybe I look Marlon Mack's way. I don't want to give him a 5-year deal just because, like I said a million times, regression and stuff like that, it's something you really have to worry about. So I'm going to give him a 3-year deal, increase the money a little bit just to try and get him in here. Keanu Neal is definitely going to get a contract from us. He's an absolute beast. He's probably one of my favorite players in real life. I just really like his kind of hard-hitting, in-your-face style of play. But he's always hurt, which really sucks. But he's a strong safety that I'd really like to bring in just because we now have a hole there again. So hopefully we get those top 2 guys, and we're going to look to move into the draft. So we get both. So those are huge additions, and I'm going to see you guys at the draft. All right, so we are here at the NFL draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers have the number 1 overall pick. Our first pick comes at pick number 17. We should have 2 first rounders, and we do. We pick at 17 and then obviously 31st because we were in the Super Bowl. All right, guys, so we're back here, just taking a look at our draft board now. I think Darian Wallace is going to be the pick, and I know that we just signed Devon Godshaw to an extension, but it was only a 2-year deal. He's only got normal development, so I don't see him being a big part of this team's future. So Darian Wallace is going to be the pick here. He's a 77 overall, hidden development, so already right there, if not better than Devon Godshaw as it is. That's a big, big pickup. So we pick at 31. D'Angelo Whitehead is going to be the pick. He looks ridiculously good. He's a 79 overall. He's number 2 in the class, so he's very good. He's a very good player. The problem is the normal development. Now that's okay because he's not going to be our feature back. That's still going to be Marlon Mack. But the normal development really hurts. All right, guys, so I kind of took a look at the trade market, and it doesn't seem worth it to give up the rest of my draft capital to move up about 10 spaces in the draft. So obviously I'm expecting this receiver to be gone. Hopefully he isn't, and he isn't. Okay, he's going to be the pick for sure. Irvin Robertson, 18th in overall true talent, 63rd is where we took him. Slot archetype. Probably going to take over for like a Jakeem Grant or something like that. Normal development sucks, but again, it seems to be all that we draft. I'm just going to take a once-over of this pick to see if we can get any late-round value, and then I'll probably just end up seeing you guys at the end of the draft. So I may or may not take someone here. I'll give you an update if there is someone I'm interested in and who I end up taking, but if not, I'll just see you guys at the start of the next season. All right, guys, so we're here at preseason week 1. I didn't end up taking anyone with that 3rd round draft pick just because there wasn't a lot of value left on the board. So we're up to an 81 on offense, 80 on defense, 80 overall. Obviously, our big prize of the draft is Darian Wallace. He's going to be a rookie and come in right away over Devon Godshaw. Okay, so big deal here. We're sending Jakeem Grant and a 3rd round pick this upcoming season for Von Miller. Now, the reason for that, Von Miller's pretty old. He's like 33, but he's got a pretty major cap hit, which is causing the Broncos some issues in terms of flexibility. So he's 32, but we have the cap hit to make his contract work. So he's going to move to our primary edge rusher in the 3-4 at right outside linebacker. And then we're going to keep our second-year player Cole Stevens, at left outside linebacker. So that is a massive addition for this defense. Now, I'm only expecting to have Von Miller here for, maybe 2 seasons if I'm lucky, if I can get that out of him. He's a 92, a superstar X Factor, so, odds are his regression's probably going to be to an 85 in 2 years, maybe a bit lower than that, but that's a huge addition for this defense. It fills a pretty significant need for the here and now, so we don't have to worry about it. And then I'm going to put Wallace in as our rush D tackle. I'm going to make sure Jerome Baker's is our sub linebacker. I'm going to leave the rookie Robertson in the slot receiver spot just because that hopefully will project him to a development increase and potentially offensive rookie of the year. Preston Williams is our 4. I think this team is very good. We got Whitehead as our rookie running back, a receiving back. I think just maybe a little more offensive line help, especially in this left guard spot. The rest is looking really solid. This team is starting to really take form and take shape. We'll potentially look to increase the talent at corner, but I'm going to send him to the midseason mark, and I'll see you guys there. All right, so we are here at the midseason mark. We're coming off a loss to the Jets. We are 1-5. So going from a Super Bowl team last year, where we were 9-7 at the end of the year, we are now 1-5. So that just shows you how weird the sim engine is. So Von Miller's a free agent. So that's very interesting because he's probably going to be, he's actually looking for a pretty big deal in terms of signing bonus, but it's not a massive cap hit in terms of overall money we need to give him. So he's looking for more bonus, so that's kind of annoying. Will Hernandez is definitely going to get a contract, probably a 3-year deal for 25.7 million. Gesicki's going to get a contract offer. I'm really hoping 4-year deal is kind of not ideal, but I'm comfortable offering that if he takes it, and he does. So I'm hoping for a dev increase at some point for him because he's still only 25. Levi Wallace, I'm going to look to move off from. Jerome Baker's definitely going to get a contract. It's going to be 4 years, and it's going to be a little bit increased in the money just because I want to ensure that he re-signs. Preston Williams, I'm comfortable bringing back, mainly because he's just so cheap and only at 24 years old. Kalen Ballage is going to walk. Josh Rosen's absolutely going to walk. And the rest, yeah, I'm okay with. I mean, we'll revisit Von Miller at some point, whether that's in the offseason just to see how much he's regressed. And then Levi Wallace, I'm pretty sure I can get a corner upgrade. Either that's through the draft or through free agency. So I'm not fretting about that too much. And I'm going to go to the playoffs. We're 5, 1-6. I don't see playoffs in the future, but I'll see you guys there. All right, so I had to quickly run upstairs, and I came back to a 9-7 playoff bound team. So as you can see here, we start off the season 1-5. We hit that bye week, and I guess something just clicked because we went on a tear. Finished off with a 5-game win streak. After the bye, we went 8-2. So that's really, really good to see. But we're 9-7. We just managed to squeak into the playoffs. We're going against the 9-7 Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders now, and we get by them, 21-10. Wallace gets another XP point, which is huge. And we're going against the 14-2 Bills in the divisional, and they are 79 overall. So technically, we have a higher overall than they do, but I've seen Josh Allen be incredible in this game, so I'm not surprised that they're as good as they are. And are we going to get by them? And we do. We crushed them, 42-10. Prescott was incredible. Four passing TDs, 1 rushing TD. Levi Wallace had 2 picks. So we're on to the conference championship for a second straight year, and we lose. 13-10. All right, so another decent run for this team. Another Super Bowl evading us, but that's all right. We're still working on the team itself here. So we're gonna sim right by that. We're gonna see who the champs are. I also forgot to check the stats. I'm really hoping we still can, and the yearly awards. Dak Prescott was pretty good, very efficient, not a lot of turnovers. 30 touchdowns is nice, almost 30, just over 3,400 yards. That's really nice to see that he kind of had a bit of a bounce back year. Marlon Mack over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. Dak Prescott added almost 500 on the ground and 3 touchdowns. So that's actually pretty nice in terms of a dual threat quarterback. Whitehead only had 300 yards rushing, but he got 6 touchdowns, so that's pretty nice. In terms of receiving, Devontae Parker over 806. Cohen kind of regressed a bit, 704. Gesicki had 685 and 7. Robertson didn't do what I thought he would do out of the slot, but he still had 600 plus yards and 6 touchdowns as a rookie. Defensively, Jerome Baker had a pretty solid season, 109 tackles, 5 TFLs, no picks. Kendra Fuller had another 5-pick campaign. Von Miller came in and had 10 sacks for us. That's huge. Wallace, our rookie superstar, had 5.5. The rest of them, pretty lackluster. Not as many turnovers as we had last season. Any defensive touchdowns? No. Dak Prescott at 7 in terms of MVP. We have him here at 4 in terms of Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, no Dolphins. Offensive Rookie of the Year does not go to D'Angelo Whitehead or Irvin Robinson, which is kind of a bummer. I would have loved to have seen them got those. Darian Wallace, our D tackle, finished 4th in Defensive Rookie of the Year. Dak finished at 6th for Best QB. And I don't expect to see any Dolphins. Oh, Kendrick Fuller got Best DB. That is probably going to be a development increase for him, which is huge. I'd really like to see him go up to superstar. Okay, decision time for Von Miller. He's going to go to free agency. I'm okay with that. Levi Wallace is still here, looking for a 3-year deal. I'm just not comfortable giving that to him, especially with the potential talent in free agency that we can get. Jair Alexander, I know I just brought him in the other rebuild, but he's so good, and he's such a big addition in terms of like a solid corner, like a staple corner on the outside that we can get. Von Miller, I do want to bring back. So he's looking for actually way less here than he was when we were like trying to negotiate contracts with him. So that's a steal there if we can get him back on the team. Do I want to bring Levi Wallace back on like a 1-2 year deal maybe as just to be our 4th corner? I kind of do. I definitely don't want to give him as much money as he's asking for. This is going to be a next to nothing offer. Yeah, 47 points. I don't expect him to take it, but I might as well offer it to him just to see. So those are huge additions to bring back to our defense. I realize Von Miller is aging, but we're kind of in a win now mentality, and I'm okay with him being, in his mid-30s. We're going to go to the draft here. I'm going to see who I can get to really help this team, but I'll see you guys there. All right, guys, so we're at the NFL draft, and after doing some scouting, I noticed there were a lot of guys that I really was interested in taking, kind of within the top 10. There are some guards that are really, really good, and potentially a defensive lineman that I want to take. So I'm sending him to the Eagles, who could use a lot of receiver help. For the 7th overall pick, we're giving up a 1 next year, and a 5 next year as well. I'm not too concerned about that first round draft pick just because I think we're going to be another pretty good playoff bound team. So I'm not worried about regretting giving that up. Just finishing up a deal here. I'm in the process of sending Eric Rowe to the 49ers for the 14th overall pick. I'm giving up a 2nd and a 4th in this year's draft. And the reason for that is it seems like I'm getting rid of a lot of my capital. And that's partially true, but it's just because I think, when you want to do that win now mentality and stuff like that, you kind of got to get the best guys when you can in these drafts. And it's a high concentration of really good players at the top of the draft. And then, it's really hard to find those hidden gems and those hidden development traits and stuff like that, as you get later into the round. So I'm going to go with Marcos Vidiel here. I know that pronunciation was flawless, but he's a 76 overall. We took him with the 7th overall pick, and he's going to come in and start right away, and that's a huge addition at left guard. There were a couple other guys that I was interested in that I had on my draft board. Leroy Rainey is going to be the pick here. He's a 2nd round projected guy, but he's got 1st round potential, and you can see why. The dude is a monster. He's a 77 overall, 21 years old. He's got a hidden development trait, which is huge for an offensive tackle, an offensive guard. And this offensive line is just going to be a different beast next year, and that's just a fact. LaFleur is going to come in. He's a 73, speed rushing type. He'll probably not see the field in the first year, but if Christian Wilkins ends up being a free agent, which I don't know when his rookie deal will expire, but depending on that, he will eventually take over the position for him. So I'm going to trade back into the 2nd round. All right, guys, so with the addition of our guards, Michael Dieter became expendable, so I just traded back into the 2nd round really quick with the Cardinals. So we got pick 20. because Lane's a 4th-round projected guy, I'm not too worried that he's going to be off the board. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the only guy left on my draft board at this point. And he isn't, but he's going to be the pick regardless. Whenever I see B-plus man coverage, I get pretty excited, and rightfully so. He's a 76 overall, hidden development. He's going to be our 4th corner. We're just going to dive right into it. I'm going to see if I can even spend any Coach XP. I think like 3,400. I think I can only get like tight ends. Yeah. But hey, if that means Gesicki gets a dev increase, then cool with me. Going to go to the midseason mark again. I'll see you guys there. All right, so we're back here at the midseason mark of season number 3. We're 3-3, which is a bit different from our first 2 seasons. The first season we were like 6-1, and then the second season we were like 1-5. So split in the middle. Christian Wilkins is here as a potential free agent. I kind of mentioned that I was willing to move on from him. Same with Devon Godshaw. I mean, he's 27 now. He's going to be 28 in the offseason. That regression is going to hit. I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in Wilkins. I'm not interested in Van Ginkel. The rest of these guys can all walk. Like, I just don't feel like tying up our money any more than we already have. So I know that's not a very interesting stop to bring me back to commentate, but let's go and check out some development here. Rainey, our guard, is up to a 78 with Star. And the rest of the team's looking pretty good. Let's check in on Lane because, so he's just under 100 snaps away from getting his revealed. So that's pretty nice as well. But we're going to go to the playoffs. We've made them for the first 2 years. So hopefully we can maintain the trend, and I'll see you guys there. All right, so at the end of the regular season, we are in a very familiar position. We went 9-7 yet again, and we are in the wild card. So very consistent among all 3 seasons, something you don't usually see with the Madden Sim, but I guess what matters is we're consistently making the playoffs. We actually won the AFC East with a 9-7 record. We're an 84 overall, 84 offense, 85 defense, and we're facing the Tennessee Titans in the wild card game. We're going to sim through this wild card game. Hopefully we come out of it on top. We have so far in the past 2 seasons, so we lose. Okay, so the first wild card that we actually don't make it out of, we lose, I think, 21-8 or 21-9 it looks like. Yeah, 21-9. Only managed field goals all games, so that's great. We're going to sim to the offseason. These guys, like I said, I'm not going to keep. No re-signing for us. We're going to move right into the free agency pool. And we're going to have some money. We're still going to have $35 million. Like I said, the Dolphins can be huge spenders and still manage to keep their cap reasonable if they do it right. Here's the thing. There's not a lot of guys that we can add here that are huge, like a huge help to us. Bring in Fant, that's great. Another tight end to add to the fold. Gesicki just isn't really cutting it for us. So we're going to go to the draft here. The offensive line is fantastic. We still have Dak. We still have Marlon Mack. I like how those rhymes. It's very satisfying to say. Cameron goes up to superstar development. That's awesome to see. He's only 24 still, so that's great. He just kind of got it randomly at Super Bowl week, so that's really, really positive to see. We're going to look to improve on the defensive line because that's kind of where I'm seeing a gap in talent. Let's see if we can move up here. I'm going to go see if I can work out a trade to get back in this first round. And if I do, I will see you guys there. All right, so as I said, I wanted to get back into this first round, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to trade Gary Jennings, who's a 70, only normal development. It's kind of very similar to the trade that I did last year with the Eagles, where I wanted to get back into the first round, and I had a pretty decent overall wide receiver kind of in my 5th slot. So I'm giving up a 3rd this year or next year and a 6th this year for number 19. we're going to see what we can nab at 19. I'm going to take a look at some of these guys, and then I'll come back with who I end up picking. All right, guys. So I'm kind of back here with the only guy that I've deemed worthy of this first pick. His name's Jarek Arnold. He had a pretty solid combine. His top 3 skills are all right. He's only 21 years old. He's a mid-first round projected guy. We're taking him at 19. I think he's going to be pretty solid. He's a 73 overall. He's number 18 in the class. We took him at 19. But that's a pretty nice move for us because he's going to be able to come in. I might move, around some of the positions to try and see if he's a better fit at left end or right end. So we're an 85 across the board. I'm going to definitely see if I can shift around some of my defensive linemen to see if I can get, those hidden development guys playing. I might move Jarek to left end. I don't want to give him 86. Fun fact, my old number when I played football was 86. I was a tight end. But yeah, so I think that's where I'm going to put Jarek. He stays at a 72, and he's going to play over Griffin. And then I want to make sure he's still in that backup defensive tackle role, just so he can get as many snaps as he can. And then the rest of the defense looks very solid. I'm going to quickly do my specialists, and then I'm going to see you guys at the start of the preseason. All right, so as advertised, we are here at the start of the preseason. I made a bit of a controversial move and put our recently drafted defensive tackle in the left end spot, but I want to assure you guys that Griffin, who he replaced, is going to be rushing the passer, so he's going to be in our special playbook sets there when we really want to get after the quarterback. So not to worry, but I definitely do want to get the guy with hidden development some more snaps. We're going to see how we're doing here. Got a breakout player. That's pretty great. We're 4-2. So good start to the year. Jarek Arnold already has 2 XP, so maybe that was the perfect move. Von Miller can walk. He's far too old now. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him retire. McDougal, who was one of my picks in the first draft, he's going to get re-signed if he decides to end up agreeing to a contract with me. Cowan's going to come back. Cameron, I definitely want to lock down, and he's super cheap, so I'm going to stretch his contract over 5, and we're going to get him back. Stevens, I'm willing to bring back on a 2-year deal. That's exactly what I would have done anyways, and he returns. So we're going to get into week 17 here. Hopefully we make the playoffs again for the 4th straight year. And we do, and we go 10-6. So our record is different, but it's the same result. We are in the playoffs, and it looks like Von Miller is going to retire finally. We're an 87 on offense, 85 on defense. We're going to look at any developments here. Arnold has superstar X Factor. Okay, so this was absolutely the right move. That is unbelievable. What's his unstoppable force? Elite pass rushers have a mix of strength, speed, and tenacity. When they enter the zone, the ability increases their win rate and block shed speed against one-on-one pass blocks. That's unbelievable. So that was 100% the right move. We're an 86 overall. We've got the 9-7 Texans in the wild card. I'd really like to get by them, and we don't. There's going to be one more year, guys. There's going to be one more year. This team is too good. This team is too good. I can still definitely see myself improving them for sure. We've got expiring contracts in Von Miller that are going to free up some more cap for us. Going to go to the offseason. Kind of sucks that we lost twice in a row in the wild card. I'd like to just get over the wild card at 10-6. I guess it's hard to get a first round bye, but it is what it is. Marlon Mack is going to be the question. Now, I guarantee you he's regressing. He is. So he's regressing already. So he's probably going to look for a 3-year deal, and he's looking for a 3-year deal, and I'm not going to give it to him because why would I give a 3-year contract to someone who's only getting worse? Makes no sense. Darian Griffin is probably not going to get re-signed. Sawyer's not going to get re-signed. Maybe Harris on a 1-year deal. maybe I can trade him on trade night and like get a first round, pick for him. Kind of the same thing with Aaron Hughes. I don't know if he'll have any trade value whatsoever, but kind of curious to find out. We bring back those two. Okay, free agency. This is where we kind of need to make like one big splash player. We're back down to an 85 on offense, 84 on defense, 84 overall. I'm going to see who like the big money names are here. It's still Von Miller. Like, this is the problem, man. Like, the draft, like, the free agents, like, just don't get better. They kind of stay the same guys, and they just get so old. I guess I can bring Von Miller back, even though he just said he was going to retire. But I guess he had to win a Super Bowl or something. He wasn't satisfied until he won another one. So, he's going to get a nice, juicy 1-year contract from us, but I'm not mad about it if he resigns. So we're going to bring back Von Miller for the second time in this video. He tried to leave us after we traded for him, and we gave him a 2-year deal. And then now we just gave him another 1-year extension because he's still an 85, man. He's still a good player. Right end is the big need. Corner is amazing. Safeties are great. I mean, it's literally fourth receiver. If that, we've got this auto-generated guy, Levon Buck, who's, in his 4th year, who's 65 with star. But it's running back, 4th receiver, and D-line. That's it. That's literally it, and then this team is perfect. We should have a first-round pick here. Yeah, we do. It's 24. I'm going to look to see if the tight end and the outside linebacker that we brought back on 1-year deals are going to have any trade value. If they do, then I'm going to look to move them. If they don't, then I'll just kind of sit where I'm at in terms of the draft and see you guys when we end up making our pick. Okay, I kind of lied. So we ended up trading Harris, who was the linebacker that we brought back on the 1-year deal, who had star development, who the CPU ended up drafting. We turned him to the first overall pick. Don't ask me why it went through. I still have no idea. But we turned him into the first overall pick from the Eagles. So now we've kind of got our pick of the crop here, and I can't help but think we have to go defensive line. Obviously, we just traded for the pick, so we can't trade it again and try and get even more, value. But I'm not going to show you guys the process of seeing who I'm going to pick. I'm just going to kind of skip to whoever I end up getting. And all right, I'll see you then. All right, guys, so I'm back here. And you're essentially looking at my predicament right now. We have the first overall pick. I like Devontae Poyer. I think he can move on ball and be our right end, I guess. He's a speed rushing archetype, had a pretty decent combine. And the reason why I like him is because he's not super fast for the position, but he looks pretty strong. And his tackle's really high. So he's very intriguing, but Ralph McFadden, man, he just looks really good, but he's 23. So it's going to be Poyer. He's a 74 overall, but he's got the hidden development. So I'll take that. So he's going to get bumped down. And then I'm looking at one of the running backs that I scouted at this pick at 24. So hopefully one of them is still on the board. And it looks like he is. And he looks very, very good. Now, I also considered Felix Bowers here, but he's a power back. And power backs are just never as good as these receiving / elusive backs. So it's going to be Tiller here. He's a 77 overall. He's number 1 in the class, so he's obviously great in terms of like value and stuff like that. He looks very good all around. Good carrying, good speed. We're going to look at this second round pick here. I kind of got the two big focus points of this draft down. So now it's kind of like potentially looking at just like value here. I'll take Denton Rose. He's a 72 overall. He's got normal development. Tiller is going to be our starting running back just because I like the hidden development. Tiller is going to get both of those. And then I want to make sure that I'm getting my Poyer guy in at right end. And he's a 75. So that's great, actually. He went up. So that's actually a massive, massive addition. So now I'm really liking this defense. The fact that Jerome Baker hasn't gone up is just sad, in my opinion. But we've got superstar X Factor, another superstar X Factor in Von Miller. Jair, the secondary's ridiculously good. No complaints there whatsoever. And I mean, at this point, it's just, can this team go out there and win games? Can we get over the 10-6, 9-7 hump? Maybe get a first round bye. This is going to be the last year. Can't upgrade running back just yet. So I'm kind of just going to go right to the true midseason mark, and I'll see you guys there. All right, so for the final time in the video, we are checking in at the midseason mark, and we're 7-1. So this team, in my opinion, has finally hit their stride, clicking on all cylinders. Everything's working. We're rolling. We're at an 85 offense, 87 defense. Not going to bother re-signing any guys because this is going to be the last year anyways, but 7-1. We're not playing spectacular across the board, so it's kind of obscure to see us at 7-1. But if we can keep this momentum up and bring it into the playoffs, then we're looking like a Super Bowl favorite here in Miami. Week 17, gonna see if we can finally get by the wild card, and we can. So we get a first round bye. We're no longer playing in a wild card game, which is super exciting. Tiller, our running back, who we just drafted, has either superstar or superstar X Factor, and he's got superstar, and he's already up to an 80. So that's great to see. Now, what else? The offensive line is still great. No Fant's still great. In terms of the rest of the team, man, how do we still not know Poyer's development? He's up to a 78 already. Arnold's still at superstar X Factor. He's only going to get better. Poyer is a guy that I really want to see his development already. But we're going to go past the wild card into the divisional. We'll see our final record. We went 11-5. So a bit of a fall off from 7-1, but not too bad. We're playing the Texans again, who we just lost to last year in the wild card round. Dak was not great. He hasn't been really that great for this entire rebuild. So interesting. Probably not someone who I'll look to bring back in future rebuilds or bring in to future rebuilds. Tiller was pretty good on the ground, 955 and 4. Prescott added another 400 plus and 6 on the ground. So he's really getting it done in the ground game, I guess. 29 total TDs to 7 picks. Whitehead was more of the power back with 9 touchdowns on the ground. Cohen had 827 and 6. Again, another relatively disappointing year for the receivers. They haven't been really excelling all that much in this entire rebuild. Baker had a great year, 110 tackles, 3 TFLs, not that many sacks, but Von Miller still had a great year. Wallace still had a good year. Arnold was okay. Wade was okay. Picks, Kendall Fuller had 3, 2 Alexander, 2 Howard, 2 Lane. Just the secondary is what carries this defense, I guess. They're pretty good. So we're not going to hop into the divisional just because if we lose in the divisional, then it was just meant to be that we weren't supposed to win the Super Bowl. But we get past it, and we don't. So that's probably going to be the end of this rebuild, guys. I'm going to show you I'm going to sim the Super Bowl first and then show you the final overall and final team, just to make sure that we get the last bit of XP for everyone. And so we're going to upgrade the team one final time. Tiller, I assume, won Offensive Rookie of the Year. So final overalls, 87 across the board, 87 offense, 87 defense. The line was unbelievable. Virtually drafted every single one of them. Fant we brought in from the Broncos, and receivers were not great, man. That was like a big position that I thought we would resolve in the draft, and it just kind of never came to fruition. Two young auto-generated running backs. Dak Prescott was pretty bad through the entire. Jerome Baker finally gets a dev increase. Are you kidding me? And Poyer has superstar X Factor. I mean, man. Okay, well, Jerome Baker finally got his development increase. Poyer and Arnold, like this line went from all normal development to superstar or better. Like, you can't ask for much more than that. Secondary was insane. Kendall Fuller went up to superstar X Factor as well. I didn't even see that. This team is so good. Maybe a rebuild I potentially visit like later down the road. I think honestly the only positions that really let us down were receiver and quarterback. Like Dak Prescott I brought in on a pretty major deal early on, like in the first season, and he never got higher than an 84, which is not great. He's 32 now. If I could do it all over, I probably wouldn't have brought him in and looked to the draft potentially, but that's the way it goes. We built a pretty great team. Yeah, so let me know what you guys thought. I'm looking to try and do, one of these every couple of days. So make sure you like and subscribe. Let me know what team I should do next. I'm open to suggestions. This was suggested to me from a buddy of mine, so if you guys want me to do another team that you enjoy, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, comment. And I'll see you guys in the next one.